It makes me happy when you make art.
Hey, I'm Sapphire. Want to hear something scary? Have you ever played the infamous one-man hide-and-seek? Or owned a toy that hosted a spirit? What about Three Kings or the Devil's Mirror? This volume is all fun and games until someone gets hurt. Stories about people who've played around with the supernatural. Stories about playtime gone wrong. Our first chapter comes from Brooklyn, who owns a very unique stuffed bear. When Brooklyn was about 3 years old, she was diagnosed with a very serious heart problem. The doctors were always in a panic, horrified that her death would come any day. Brooklyn would constantly overhear nurses talking about how worried they were about a little girl. She thought that they might have been talking about her, but Brooklyn's mom calmed her down and reminded her that there were lots of patients in the hospital. Though it didn't help that whenever her nurse came into her room, her eyes were red and wet, like she had just been crying. It always made Brooklyn nervous. What was wrong? The night before Brooklyn was to undergo surgery, she asked her nurse, "You're always crying when you come in my room. Why?" The nurse froze. She slowly bent down and whispered in her ear, "You will understand when you see her." At the time, Brooklyn didn't know what that meant. The surgery was a success, and Brooklyn now had a new heart. Being a young girl, she couldn't quite yet grasp the gravity of what she had gone through. It didn't even cross her mind to wonder where this new heart had come from. She was just happy to be alive and well. Before she left the hospital, her nurse gave her a small stuffed bear and told her to take good care of it. Years had passed, and Brooklyn was now about 8 years old. She loved to draw and would sketch cute and happy characters like Winnie the Pooh and Dora the Explorer. But one day, while she was drawing, she heard a voice. It wasn't malevolent or scary, but rather calm and peaceful.
It makes me happy when you make art.
It was faint, but Brooklyn knew that the voice was coming from the bear. She knew how crazy it sounded, but there was no doubt in her mind that there was a spirit living inside of it that wanted to be her friend. Her name was Rosalita, and she would talk to Brooklyn all the time, and Brooklyn would talk back. The problem was that no one else could hear Rosalita. Brooklyn's parents became concerned that their daughter was always locking herself in her room and talking to herself. But Brooklyn didn't care. Rosalita had become her friend. Brooklyn continued to draw pictures for her to make her happy. And Brooklyn believes that Rosalita helped her become a better artist. Rosalita would guide Brooklyn's hand on the paper. It was like she was a part of her. But Rosalita became tired of the childish drawings. "You need to make real art," she said. She told Brooklyn to walk outside into the yard where she found the bones of a dead mouse. "Turn it into art," Rosalita said. "Bring meaning to its death." So Brooklyn took the bones and glued them on a piece of paper, with Rosalita instructing her each step of the way. She hung it on her wall, and to this day, it's still there. It always made her parents uncomfortable, so they would always try and take it down. But whenever they would take it down, they would get sick the next day, and Brooklyn would hang it back up. Did Rosalita have something to do with that? For the most part, Rosalita was always sweet and kind. But there was something odd that happened a few times that concerned Brooklyn. When their first family dog died suddenly, Brooklyn was heartbroken. Rosalita, however, was the opposite. "Now we can spend more time together." And in the span of a few weeks, her other family members' dogs unexplainably passed away. Did Rosalita have anything to do with that? Brooklyn is now 19 years old and still speaks to the stuffed bear that hosts Rosalita's spirit.
Do you remember the nurse who gave this bear to you?
Yes, I do.
She was my mom. She was always crying because I wasn't doing well. I was staying in the same hospital as you. Did anyone ever tell you where your new heart came from?
No.
You are my art. Your life brought meaning to my death.
Brooklyn began to cry. Thank you so much. You're so important to me.
But,
Rosalita continued,
on your 21st birthday, I have to go.
What do you mean?
I have to move on.
Oh, why? Rosalita paused.
I just have to go. And I'm bringing my heart with me.
Does that mean that I'll... Rosalita didn't say another word and wouldn't answer Brooklyn whenever she brought it up again. What did Rosalita mean by that? Guess she'll find out in 2 years. Want to see something scary live? Check out the video in the description below for more information on how you can demand your city. A very special thank you to Brooklyn in Missouri for sharing your story and photos with me. What do you think about Brooklyn's experience? Do you think by having Rosalita's heart, she somehow became psychically connected with her spirit? And do you think Rosalita is a good spirit or a bad one? Let me know in the comments. Like this video if it gave you the chills. And don't forget to subscribe to Snarled and our sister channels Hissy Fit and Slay Tricks. If you or anyone you know have any unique paranormal experiences, DM me on Instagram and I might feature your story. Even if it doesn't fit in with the current theme, it might fit one in the future. And I do my best to read and respond to everybody, so please be patient with me. Until next time, sweet dreams.